It's 6 a.m. in Port Charlotte, Florida. I decide that I'm going to run a 10K, 6.2 miles, for my 62nd birthday. At the end, I decide I'm going to see how far I can run without stopping because my ankle's feeling pretty good. Injury update. So I set the scene. It's 9:30 a.m. in Leadville, Colorado. There is 30 minutes left to the 30-hour finish and cutoff for the Leadville 100 race. I've been running since 4 a.m. the morning before, through the various aid stations, up and over the famous Hope Pass to Winfield and back. I'm tired, but not beaten and not injured. My feet and legs ache a little bit, but that's to be expected for a 100-mile run. There's not a lot of time to waste, and I'm running on fumes. Michael is pacing me. I can smell the finish line and can imagine my family waiting to run the last 500 yards. I could envision myself running and walking and running and walking, but there's no time for that because time is a-wasting. The trail comes out of the woods and onto the main road. It goes up a hill and crests to the top where you can see the finish line. But you have to run down a hill and back up another hill to actually get to that finish line where everyone is waiting. I do the first mile in 11 minutes and 30 seconds. Can I hold on? Michael asked me, do you want to take a walk break because you have time now? There's a little bit of clock banked in my favor. But the risk is if I start to walk, will I ever get started back again? Because the fatigue is real. I decide to keep pushing and to maintain that pace and finish with the last mile of 11 minutes and 20 seconds. I'm joined by my family. We run up the hill together, and Mary Lee says, stop. You've done it. The reality of it is I just entered Point Court and finished my morning run. My name is Jami Dulaney, and I'm a plant-based cardiologist and endurance athlete living in Southwest Florida. Thanks for listening. This is the first time I've ever done a podcast on my birthday, and it's kind of nice. I'd like to thank everyone for all the well wishes, and thank you for listening. I got some nice comments for people that enjoy the podcast. It's always nice to know that there's somebody out there listening. My longtime listeners know that I've been dealing with an ankle injury since the end of January and the finish of the long haul 100-mile trail race. I believe I now have the confidence to say I'm back. Not completely. There are a little bit of aches and pains afterwards, and a little extra stretching is needed. And certainly my fitness needs to come back. But for the most part, I was happy with those back-to-back 11, 30-minute miles on the way in this morning. I started my return by running 30 seconds and walking 4 minutes, and then increasing that rather rapidly because I wanted to. And stopping because of heart rate or stopping because my ankle hurt, walk a little bit, stretch a little bit, and have gradually increased the mileage. Currently, 3 days a week, I'm doing about 3.5 to 4 miles plus strength training, and the other days I'm doing 5 to 6 miles with a hill at the end. But today I decided to run a 10K for my birthday because at 62, I'm 100K years old, and I thought 6.2 was good enough rather than to try to squeeze 100K in before work. But on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm pushing the limits a little bit on my ankle as well as on the weekends, and I wanted to see today how far I could go without a walk break before my ankle started to either have some muscle spasm or have a little bit of nerve pain, and I'm happy to report that I got through those, really it was 3 miles, without much difficulty, without taking a walk break. I wasn't pushing the pace, but I was trying to run a steady pace, and if I look back over the last year or so, running an easy pace of 11:30 was reasonable. So it was a great birthday present to myself to be able to run in the 11-minute mile range without significant amount of discomfort. And I was even happier when I stopped and I wasn't all, cramped up at the end. So I walked the rest of the day feeling pretty good as well. So a great day, a great birthday, a great present to me from the running god. So thank you. For people that listen to the podcast, they know that next weekend was supposed to be my Leadville 100 race. And it's a scary race because it's at elevation, it's 100 miles, and altitude, and technical, and 62-year-olds, there's not a lot of 62-year-old finishers. So it would, I would be in some pretty good company of some runners that are much more experienced than myself. But nevertheless, I was looking forward to towing the line to see how far I could get. Had to postpone that. I am on the schedule for next year, so I'm officially training for the Leadville 100 as well as a couple other races right now. Usually in the morning, I take one dog for a little bit, then another dog for a little bit, and then sometimes finish up by myself. I don't listen to music or podcasts usually during runs because I'm listening for cars and other things that I need to be aware of. But it's my time to relax and visualize, and it's somewhat meditative for me. And this morning, again, when I decided that I was going to see if I could hold that 11-minute pace, I was visualizing what it might be like to complete that Leadville run next August. So I've got 2 of the miles down. I have 98 to go. But if you can see it, you can do it. So game on. Part of why I like to share my running experiences on the podcast, and then I frame my shirts and medals and hang them up in the office. It's not to brag, but it's to show that anybody can do it. Wasn't a runner growing up. I was in the band. I'm a nerd. I golfed. I took up running as a way to get some quick exercise in, and one thing led to another. And marathon running, ultra running is basically one step in front of the other, and I've always been drawn to it because it's so much like life that trouble comes up and you have to troubleshoot. And consistency is key. If you can consistently train, you can consistently build your mileage up day after day, week after week over time, so that you can complete longer and longer distances with less and less difficulty. It's not unlike life. People ask me, how do you exercise every day? I lay my clothes out. I lay my clothes out the night before. It's my plan. I'm ready to go. I have a plan of what I'm going to do. I know how much I'm going to run. I may not know what I'm going to visualize about, but I know how far I'm going to run and what I'm going to do, or if I'm going to strength train, and it's planned, and I stick to the plan. And then I record it on a calendar when I come home, as well as I'm in Garmin Connect. It's kind of funny. My Garmin Connect is connected to another app called Strava. If you're a runner or cyclist, you may know about the Strava. It's a way people can compete all over the world in different segments, and then people can follow what your exercise is, and you can motivate one another. I don't usually get on Strava much, but my data goes over to Strava, and often I'll get kudos. And this past weekend, I got a kudo for running about 0.6 miles because we were having Tropical Storm Debbie. And Sunday, we tried to run out before the rain, and we got about 0.3 miles up the road, maybe. No, we didn't get 0.3. We got 0.1 on Sunday, 0.12, before the lightning, thunder, and torrential rain started coming at us, and we turned around and ran back. But I got kudos for going out and trying. And then again, Monday, it took 2 times to go out to finally be able to get in between the raindrops and the rain and the wind. But it's always something that I'm going to try to head out for. I don't run in the lightning. I don't run during a hurricane because winds can blow things down and you can't duck them. But other than that, for the most part, I do like to go outside to do my runs. If I can't run and it's a torrential downpour, then I might do the treadmill. Sunday, after the 0.3 at the end, I actually took a rest day. But I had run 11 miles on Saturday. I had run that hard, and I felt like, rest day was going to be okay, and I got back at it on Monday. That's the first day off I have taken since my last air flight. I usually don't run on the days I fly, so it's been probably a month and a half. Well, I think it was 4th of July was the last time I took a day off. So something every day, and again, consistency. Day after day, year after year, what I can do and build up. And that's the key. Just like in trying to lose weight or trying to get your diabetes under control, trying to get healthier in general, it takes a consistent effort. I got a call this week. Somebody didn't want to be on insulin anymore and they wanted to get off of it, but the reality of it is they're very haphazard in their nutrition. They go from plant-based to eating French croissants and pastries and chocolates to maybe exercising and maybe walking a mile twice a day. So they're either on or they're off for the most part. But they don't want to take insulin. Well, you can't just not treat yourself if you have a disease, and diabetes is probably the biggest risk factor for cardiovascular disease, and certainly a risk factor for cancer as well. So you just can't ignore it. You will die of diabetic ketoacidosis or hyperosmolar coma. So it's nothing to be ignored. The longer your glucoses are elevated, and the higher the amounts of insulin that your pancreas has to put out, the more likely you are to completely shut down your pancreas, and then you will require insulin for the rest of your life. So you can't just ignore it. You have to do something differently. And certainly there are different medications that you can take, and insulin is one of them, especially in people that have very difficult time to control their glucose. None of the medications are without side effects, of course. But you got to do something, and you got to do something consistent. And that phone call or that text was followed up by, I read that there's this pill over the counter that you can take to improve your diabetes. It reminded me of the story that my mother used to tell, the local general practitioner that she lived in our town when I was growing up, that after she had me, she wanted to lose her baby weight, and she went out to see Doc Brooks, and she asked Doc Brooks, does he have anything to help her lose weight? Doc Brooks was a portly fellow, envision Archie Bunker, and his tie kind of went out at almost a 90-degree angle over his belly, and he said, Alfreda, if I had something that was effective, do you think that I would look like this? So the reality of it is, there wouldn't be diabetes if there was an over-the-counter gummy that reversed diabetes. Nothing is that easy, nor should it be that easy for the most part. And if it's promised, then there's probably either it doesn't just flat out doesn't work, or there are a bunch of side effects. Another magic pill came across my screen that guaranteed more energy than caffeine, more ability to concentrate, improved memory, stabilizing mood, increasing your drive to get things accomplished. And, it's going fast, but right now you can get 2 bottles of it for $67. Can't help but look, right? Got to see what's in there. It always intrigues me. So it has 15 calories. It's a gummy too, so it tastes good. There's 0 fat. There's a little bit of sugar. And there's vitamin C, they said, 15 whopping milligrams. A piece of fruit has 100 milligrams, so that tells you about where the vitamin C comes in. And then the other ingredients were a broad-spectrum hemp extract, CBD, and a CBG isolate and ginseng, all very low. And if you go down to the ingredients, organic tapioca, syrup, sugar, water, pectin, citric acid, then ginseng, then vitamin C, sodium citrate stabilizer, broad-spectrum CBD, natural flavors, CBG isolate, and natural colors. A modern-day snake pill, or snake oil pill supplement. It guaranteed there was no THC or marijuana in it. It guaranteed that it was natural and there wasn't any antibiotics. But that's about all. I think everybody loves a good gummy bear. It's one of my favorite candies growing up was gummy bears, and I used to eat them before I was vegan to even train for marathons, but most of the good ones aren't vegan, although they do have some vegan gummies now that aren't all that bad, made of fruit and fruit juices and things. But most of the vitamins are coming out too, because again, everybody loves a good gummy. So you can take a gummy turmeric, a gummy vitamin C, a gummy memory pill, probably a gummy diabetes booster, and you could just kind of take all kinds of gummies and hope to get healthy, but it's probably not going to happen. Even prescription drugs are not without side effects, and of course about every other week I bring up Ozempic and other GLP-1 agonists, and they do result in weight loss, and I've actually seen people's hemoglobin A1C improve on them. The weight loss is not really impressive. Most people get about 15 pounds or so, and then it slows down a whole lot. I think everybody's brain probably adapts to those sensations. So there's initially decreased cravings, but your body makes a way to work around that. You get the calories. Your body really wants to, and especially your brain wants to maintain the mass that you are. So it's going to really work hard to make you want to eat enough calories to maintain your mass. So it's hard to do it without having your own personal thoughts and behaviors contributing to that. But even though you lose weight, you also lose lean body mass. And in the end, losing lean body mass results in decrease in mitochondria. And, at a population that's over 50, that muscle mass that you lose may very well be significant when it comes to mobility and aging and not falling and maintaining, again, mitochondria and maintaining strength. So you can gain strength back by a lot of exercising, but it's pretty hard to put muscle mass back on. Certainly after menopause, probably after 50 and everyone, we start to lose muscle mass after age 30. So, you can put some of it back on, but the older you get, the harder it is to put muscle mass on. You can gain strength back, but again, these medications may make people wake up and have a bigger problem than they think. And I recommend and would recommend strength training throughout taking this medication to try and maintain muscle mass. And of course, there's my friends, the carnivore people that I like to follow on X and see what's going on. And most recently, there was a comment on someone that had just started the carnivore diet, and the person said that I have been on the carnivore diet a week and I haven't lost weight. When will this start to occur? And then there was a bunch of different responses that I couldn't wait to read. The best one of which was, I eat beef, bacon, and vodka to decrease my carb craving, because if I'm drunk, I don't crave carbs as much. And vodka is considered not a carbohydrate, given that it's fermented potatoes. The other people that were carnivore gruffly commented that you need to train to lose weight, so you need to strength train. And it's not about losing weight on a carnivore diet, but it's about resetting your metabolism. And someone else said, again, you need to exercise to lose weight, and you need to eat a certain calories. And they actually gave a formula about how many calories people should eat. So I decided to look into that a little bit. They called it the base eat number. And I had a hard time finding much reference on that, but I decided to do the math anyway. You take your weight and divide by 20, and then you minus how many pounds you would like to lose in a month. So if a 200-pound person divided by 20 equals 10 minus 4, they would eat 6 cups of food a day. So it depends on the caloric density of that food. If it were, they're supposed to be carnivores, so the caloric density shouldn't be processed, so it should be meat. But the caloric density would be worse if it were a fatty meat. But if you kind of did 600 calories per pound of weight, that would take you about 3 pounds of food, 6 cups, and that's about 1,800 calories. And a 200-pound person would actually lose weight if they consumed that fewer calories. And it's actually perfect. If you eat about 300 calories less than what you're burning, you will have a steady weight loss. For weight loss, it does not matter what those calories constitute. If you eat a calorie number of that much, it could be Twinkies, ribeye, kale. Those calories in a 200-pound person, 1,700 calories, would result in weight loss over time. Of course, as you lost weight, that base number is going to go down, because if you went from 200 to 180 divided by 20 minus 4, then that's fewer calories. And so people often, when they plateau, they start to say that the diet's not working. Well, the diet's working just fine. It's that now their lean body mass has started to decrease, and so they actually need less calories. So a 120-pound woman needs a lot less calories than a 200-pound man. And because of muscle mass, women burn about 14 calories per pound, and men burn about 17 calories per pound if they're moderately active. And that doesn't vary all that much. Obviously, if you're an Olympic athlete, you're going to burn more in both men and women. If you're sedentary, you'll probably burn a little bit less, but across the range, that's a pretty consistent number. As far as health goes, what you eat actually does matter. Macronutrients, yes, but micronutrients, antioxidants matter an extreme amount. So getting your vegetables and fruit in is very important. The good thing about eating a plant-based diet is the calories per pound is more along that 500 calories per pound. So you have a lot better chance of hitting your goals eating plant-based than you would if you're eating eggs and cheese and ribeyes or Delmonico's, or what I see on the carnivore people. That meat is expensive, so they start eating cheap cuts of things that are very fatty. And that's all well and good, but I would rather eat a plant-based diet and not really have to worry so much about what I'm eating. Just by looking at my plate and making sure that I have a very colorful plate, making sure that I'm getting certain foods in every day, such as my greens, my nitric oxide producing greens, and my mushrooms, and my adequate amounts of protein. The rest really takes care of itself. Essential amino acids, omega-3s, I get with flax and hemp seeds, chia seeds, I get them with pinto beans and kale. Essential amino acids, I get plenty of those through my diet. If there's anything that's changed over my time as a plant-based practitioner, I would say that I'm looking a little bit more towards an increased amount of protein in my diet. So a lot of people get away very nicely with an 80-10-10 diet, so 80% carbohydrates, 10% protein, 10% fat. I personally think that as we get older, we need a little bit more protein. How you get your protein matters, because if your protein is hooked onto fat, then that can shoot your fat percentage up and start to cause some problems. So I prefer to get my protein from beans, tofu, and then whatever comes in vegetables. So I like to stay low fat, but I do think that a little bit more protein in the diet is good. I also think that being plant-based, the probability of overdoing it on protein, and again, protein associated with fat and cholesterol, you're not going to have that problem. So if you're an animal-based eater, animal food-based eater, you're getting cholesterol with your protein, as well as saturated fat, and of course everything the animal ate. But if you're a plant-based eater, you don't have to worry about cholesterol, so everything kind of works out in a very nice way, and you don't have to worry about, again, restricting pieces or counting or keeping track of, because nobody can do that. I think that transitioning to a whole food plant-based diet is not a whole lot different than learning to run a marathon. You start out wanting to do it, and you look around and see what everybody else is doing, read some magazines, dip your foot in the water, buy some things, different vegetables, maybe too many vegetables, try a few things, fail a little bit, have some bad runs, have some bad dinners, maybe have an injury, maybe fall off the wagon a little bit, get back on. And it's about learning from your mistakes and learning how to adjust and seeing what works and doesn't work, and keeping and being mindful about what's actually going on. People that come into my office and tell me what they're eating, and I can say this has this or this has that, is easy. It's the people that don't realize what they're eating or don't know I'm eating perfectly. Well, nobody eats perfectly. So, you have to start at home with yourself and be honest. And if somebody's honest with us, we can actually work with them and troubleshoot. And it's not about being right or wrong. It's about recognizing what needs to change. And that's where we come in and help. And that's where the challenge comes in for people to change. And I think instead of it, it should be looked at as fun, rewarding, being able to strategize how you might do it. We talked last week about the power of the pause before a decision is made, but becoming aware and using a health journey as a challenge that you accept and are willing to do, as opposed to, I can't do this, give me a pill, look for a quick fix, I think is much more rewarding. And the people that have been actually very successful in our practice really feel good, and they're very, very motivated, and they have a great positive attitude, not without struggle along the way. But when you cross that finish line, it's very rewarding to know that you've given it everything you have, and this is where you are. We'd love to help. If you have some interest in becoming plant-based, improving your health lifespan, health span, your nutrition profile, we'd love to help you assess things. It can be very difficult. The marketing out there is crazy as far as, again, take this, take that, this will work, this won't work. But we'd like to help you with your dedicated, mindful, healthful journey. Go on over to the website, drdulaney.com. We have a variety of different options, including a $25 option, which you just get access to our lectures, webinars, and all our nutritional information, including strength work and mobility work type of thing. So give me an email if you have any questions, Jami, Jami, at drdulaney.com. Lord knows I'm pretty good at injuries, so if you're trying to troubleshoot why you can't get a running program up or why you can't seem to stay without injury, that's where I come in as well. Most people don't need surgery, don't need medications, but they just need a little assessment of what's going on. So I'd love to help you with that as well. Thank you, as always, for listening. And I hope you have a good evening. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my birthday watching a little Olympics. Go for a run in the morning, and tomorrow will be Friday, so it'll be a shorter run and strength work. Have a great weekend. Stay dry, stay healthy. See you next week.